Welcome to episode 6 of It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere.
I'm Alexandra Wyman.
And I'm Anna Gisetti, and we are the Russian sisters. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. We're just pumped once again that we
made it past 5.
We made it past 5.
That's awesome.
And here we are, still having fun, still enjoying ourselves.
Oh, yes.
And excited to bring to you another, hopefully, very fun episode.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of fun.
I think so. And we have a fun little group with us here today. Mm-hmm. Not just Alexandra and myself, but of course our producer, director, tech guy, Ricky
Bickford.
Mm-hmm. So we're very excited that he's always around. And then you guys, we actually are doing our first guest.
I know.
On our show
really
today.
Exciting.
Mm-hmm. So stay tuned. Hang in, because we've got a little bit to do before we get to our guest. It's really exciting. So let's start off as we always do. Do you know where it's 5 o'clock right now?
You're gonna tell me.
Somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But today we're gonna toast, even if it's not 5 o'clock for them yet. Mm-hmm. We're gonna toast the people in Antarctica.
Yes.
I like to pronounce that very clearly. You Antarctica.
Do. Cheers.
Cheers to Antarctica. Yeah. I feel like some people don't always say that name fully.
Sorry, I was still cheersing. What do you mean?
I don't know. How do you say that continent?
Well, now I'm not sure how I say it. Maybe Antarctica? Antarctica?
Mm-hmm. Antarctica.
I don't know. Antarctica? Mm-hmm. I think I change it depending on who I'm talking to, actually.
Really?
Well, I don't know.
Isn't that interesting?
But I feel like both feel right, and they can't both be right. Mm-hmm. So
Antarctica.
Yeah.
I feel like I grew up saying it that way.
Antarctica?
But now I like to pronounce all the letters.
You do.
Mm-hmm. I do that with a lot of words. Mm-hmm. Today we're toasting the people in Antarctica with the Crusher. It's a 2017 Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa.
Going down with the
Crusher. It's actually a really cool bottle label, I think.
It is. It's appropriate for today.
And you guys, well, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but we chose some wines that have something maybe to do with athletics because it's March. Uh-huh. And in March, we have March Madness.
Totally.
Which is an athletic event.
What?
Sportsing.
Just kidding.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I know. And I was thinking about it as I was preparing for today that I'm wearing professional sports gear because I don't think I have anything college anymore for March Madness.
I think
I've got high school, maybe something from, I don't know. This was the best that I could do. So
I know you're sporting the Broncos gear. I like it today.
Yeah.
And I'm sporting one of the very first sweatshirts, hoodies I got way back when I started working at Sheridan High School. And I used to
we won't say how long ago that was.
No, it was a long time ago. And I would schmooze my way into with the athletic directors and the coaches and be like, oh, that's a really cool sweatshirt. How can I get one of those? I'd love to support your team.
All the schools, right? You have t-shirts or sweatshirts or hoodies or whatever that you wear. And I've had schools where I end up working at that particular school on a day that's supposed to be Spirit Week and everyone's supposed to wear something for that school.
Yeah.
And then they'll see I don't and they go, oh, well, we have an extra for you. Maybe it'll shrink because it's an extra large and it's a men's. And I was like, thanks for that.
I feel like we have a closet full at my school. We have a closet full of, I think, extra large t-shirts. I'm like, this would make a nice night shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That yeah. Oh yeah, that would really do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, check out this extra large men's t-shirt.
You could wear with leggings.
With some bangles and earrings.
And leggings. Wouldn't that be fun and comfortable for Spirit Day? Yeah, I am not ashamed that I've done that at a few of my schools where I've been like, hey, I really like this sweatshirt or jacket. And they've been really nice at giving me some.
You do have some good
sweatshirts. But I was thinking about this recently because I have a lot of shirts and sweatshirts from coaching and just from the different schools I've been in. And
fill
I was
a closet
like,
just
what?
With that.
Well, I'm like, I don't want to give them to Goodwill. So I was thinking that maybe eventually I would have someone make a t-shirt quilt or something like that with all the
That's fun. When you
shirts.
retire?
Mm-hmm. Oh, when I retire. I was thinking maybe in the next couple years, but Retirement is not anytime soon.
Oh.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a few more years left to go before.
I like your idea of the t-shirt quilt. And
Yeah.
I also like the idea of you being able to retire, but I suppose.
I like both those things very much.
Can't always get what you want.
In the name of the Rolling Stones. I don't always get what I want. And that's okay. I sing that to the nieces sometimes when they, don't get what they want. And I'm like, what do the Rolling Stones always say? You can't always get what you want, girls. Anywho, you guys, I got my second vaccine with when we were taping last time. I was going to get my second vaccine afterward. I know. Did I just burst your bubble that this is live, guys? Sorry.
No,
there's some magic that happens behind the scenes.
Taping, I feel like taping is like what people did in the 80s when they were doing.
What word would you use?
Recording?
What?
I don't know. Rickerford?
I would say recording.
See?
He also says I am. And I still like to use DM, apparently.
Yeah.
Or PM.
No, PM.
Mm-hmm. I like to use those other ones. Just message me.
I digress. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So we were taping.
Yeah.
And then Anna went and got her shot.
I did. And so just really quickly, I know most of you know my story already, but I felt fine the day of the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, not so awesome. And then the day after that, so Saturday was the vaccine, Sunday, not so awesome. Monday, I felt fine enough to go back to work, except for I had some really inflamed lymph nodes in my armpit, and that made things quite uncomfortable. While I was telling people, it felt like I had a grapefruit in my armpit, and that was not fun. I've never had anything.
It swelled like that.
I know.
I had the pain in the armpit, but I didn't have that kind of swelling.
Yeah, it was tender to the touch. It was not amazing.
How do you put your arm down?
I had to wear baggy sweaters and not I would walk around with my hand on my hip most often because I was like, this is really weird. I can't put it down like a normal person. And I did describe it to some colleagues. I was like, if you've ever seen the movie Hitch, when Will Smith eats the seafood and then he's in the drugstore trying to get some Benadryl or whatever, and then he sees his face in the mirror and he's like, ugh. That is pretty much how I was Monday morning when I was getting dressed for work. And I was like, what in the Sam hell happened to me over here? This is a funny side effect of the vaccine that I had not heard about. I've heard fatigue.
I didn't hear about the armpit hurting.
Yeah, chills, right? And aches. I heard of all those flu-like symptoms. And I had not heard about this. But you guys, it's amazingly, when I had to share out to the world in social media land that this happened and this weird thing happened, there were several people who reached out and were like, hey, that happened to me. You're not alone. Because I was like, great. That was my messaging to other people. I was
going to say, don't forget, Anna, you're not alone.
You are not alone. Thanks, Al.
Yeah. I'm here for you.
That's comforting. I was just actually talking about that came up in a professional development series I was sitting in on this week about connections and how important that is for people, for us as humans, to know that we're not alone and to have shared experiences.
I love the One Republic song, Connection.
Oh my gosh, I love that song too.
Yeah. That makes me think of that.
I did a lesson with high schoolers with that song, analyzing lyrics.
Oh, I do remember you saying that.
That was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Sounds like it.
I dug it.
What else happened to you this week?
Not much, except I did have some discoveries or some ponderings this week. And so because of some things I was listening to, I wanted to run some things by you. The first one being the word Gala.
Yeah.
Do you pronounce that gala or gala?
Oh, I say gala.
Gala.
Berkeford?
What do you say? I say gala. Are there are people that say gala, right? We're going to a gala.
Are we talking we're going to a gala, or are we talking about gala apples?
Is there are there gala apples?
Yeah. But maybe those are gala apples, and then you go to a gala.
The fancy event is one, right? This is all very confusing to me.
That is confusing.
The English language is hard, right? So I say for neither. I think sometimes I try to say neither.
I say neither.
But every once in a while I catch myself saying neither, and I'm like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, I'm a neither. Either, neither. Berkeford?
I do both.
Yeah. Both?
Depends.
Oh, depends on who you're with that you adjust your language.
Interesting.
I probably do that too with some words. Do you know what else?
Like Antarctica.
Antarctica.
And now I don't think I can say it because I'm so self-conscious about how I'm saying it. That A word.
Yeah. Well, there's a C in there that often doesn't get said.
That's right.
Antarctica.
But do you say Arctic or Arctic? Well, I'm just saying do you say the Arctic Sea or the Arctic Sea? I say the Arctic Sea. So maybe it is Antarctica. Anyway. All right. What else do you got? Gala?
So I was listening to some music at school the other day, and I usually have like a Pandora something station going on in the background, and it just depends when my mood, depending on my mood, what kind of music I listen to.
Sure.
And this week I happened to decide I wanted to listen to some top 40 like hot songs of today.
Oh, of today. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. I do have like an 80 station and a 90 station in my Pandora list, but it was like today's hits.
Yeah.
And your favorite song, Driver's License, came on.
Oh boy. I did hear that something on the radio.
You guys, do you know it has an F word in it? She says the F word. On the radio, I feel like she's so pure, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then on Pandora, you get the explicit version, and there's an F word in it. I had to fast forward.
You put her on a pedestal, huh? And she just fell right off.
Crumbled, because as soon as I heard the F word, I was like, I cannot listen to this in my place of employment. That is not okay.
No, I had to text Anna earlier this week because I heard that song first thing in the morning, and I decided, since Anna likes it, that I would try it. And then I got so depressed listening to it that I was like, I need to go watch something funny. This is way too much for this early in the morning. Too
serious for first thing in the morning. I think that was on the weekend too. Oh. And you're like, ugh, way to start my day with this song. And I was like, ugh, I know, I'm watching Criminal Minds.
So, we really know how to start the day off right.
Way to be uplifting.
Yeah.
All right. So because I know you've got some things that you are going to talk about today.
Week, yeah.
So before we roll into that, some things I learned from Twitter. You guys, it was a disappointing week on Twitter.
Step it up, Twitter. Yeah, come on, step it up.
Just people in general. I don't watch the news. I find it very depressing.
Me neither.
And so I sometimes just look at the headlines, right? And so I was just sifting through some of the headlines as they were coming up on Twitter, and there was something about like the vote on stimulus checks, and it might not have gone as well as we hope, but we'll see. I don't know.
Oh, I thought it passed. Or past the House.
Did it? There was like one party that voted against.
That is also only a headline I read. So
stay tuned, y'all.
Like we really are on top of our current events.
We pretend like we know things, but we're just coming up with like headlines.
Anyone who listens to us now kind of already picked up that we pretend we know things.
Yeah, they're like, we're just gonna go fact check that. Those girls, they're talking. Anyway, so. As I said, it was kind of depressing and not really, I don't know. I didn't learn anything fun and exciting, I don't think, on Twitter. But what I did see, one of the tweets that was out there took me to an article, and it like showed this celebrity like at a heavyweight, and then look at these celebrities as they lost weight.
Then and now.
Then and now. And because of the top picture was so ridiculous, I was like, I gotta see this. So I click on the link, and first of all, it was misleading because what they put out there like in the tweet, or what the picture that shows up on the front, is not the picture that shows up in the article for that particular celebrity.
Oh, that's like cheeky.
That is cheeky, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, I hated it. I hated it so much because the captions were like, look at this person when they were weighing so much weight, poundage. There was like so much poundage on this person.
They were
heavier. And then they're like, and look how beautiful they are now that they've lost weight. And it was every single celebrity
caught on to all of the different see, now I can't even think of what they're called. Well, there's shaming, but there are so many campaigns now. Maybe that's what it is. Campaigns now that show women of different sizes to show that beauty isn't about your weight.
No, and it was men and women alike. And it was like, look how good they look now that they dropped all those pounds. And I was just reflecting on that and thinking like how many young people look at stuff like that on the daily and believe that. And it just made me very sad. Well, not even young people. Impressionable people. All of us.
I'm still young.
You are young.
At heart.
In every way.
No, totally. I was one of those. The way the media impacts, and this is why I think I get so wrapped up in people who are role models or famous people who are supposed to be role models. And I get that they don't necessarily ask for that, but that is a part of being famous, is now you've become a role model. You're someone who's out there. People are going to see you. And so when they don't act very nicely or, I don't know, with grace or class, then I'm like, how many small humans now are being impacted and think that that's okay because you were like that? And similarly for the weight thing, right? Guys are only really, if they're fit and have a 6-pack, which please, we all know that is not likely. Yay.
No.
Yeah.
Like if you work out all day, every day, and don't do anything else,
look like Barbie.
No.
Yeah.
No, and I think that was one of the captions is about, and I don't remember which actress, but it was essentially something along those lines that now she kind of looks like a Barbie. And I'm like, hello, people. We went through this years ago that Barbie's dimensions are impossible.
Yeah.
Not achievable.
Not in a healthy, natural way.
No, definitely not in a healthy. And that's one of the messages.
natural way. You can't do that naturally, but yeah.
No, one of the messages that I really try to push is healthy.
Exactly.
Right? Ugh.
Well, however, I will say, I mean, I was kind of that chunky kid, and people would be like, oh, because my stature was more like our brother than it was my sister. And so I'd be like, oh, you're just athletic looking, or you're just big boned.
I get that now.
Or
you're athletic.
You're just healthy looking.
Uh-huh.
And it's because people didn't know what to say. I mean, I didn't lose my baby weight until I was a sophomore in high school. And so that was, traumatic all on its own. But yeah, I agree. That's unfortunate. And especially if you're in the limelight like these celebrities,
mm-hmm.
and then people latch on to your every decision you make, mm-hmm. your weight, your whatever. Oh,
well, people are just weird and mean. People can be very mean and weird. And that's the other thing that this silly article that I was led to from the Twitter was like just weird things that people do. And a lot of the pictures that were posted in this article had to do with people not leaving tips or not leaving tips in a really awful, mean manner. Like they would put a few dollars in a full glass of water and turn it over. And then there was one picture like the turned over full glass of ice water was surrounded by ketchup so that a person like had to go and clean up all this mess in order to get the couple dollars. Exactly. And I'm like, what? People are doing this? And then there were just pictures of some really mean things that people say to people in the service industry. And I'm like, what? Why are people so weird? Human.
Oh, I can't ever go back. There have been moments since I ever quit being a server where I've thought, oh, that could be my backup. And then it's like full body reaction. I couldn't do it again.
Mm-mm. No. And I think about it every so often and I'm like, oh, if I were to pick up a couple shifts, I know how to do that. Mm-hmm. Right. I could go and serve but yeah.
When you come home smelling like food.
Fried food.
I feel
just grease.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I couldn't.
Did you have a favorite uniform when you, from one of the restaurants that you worked in?
No.
Or the worst uniform?
I'll say what's funny that we're talking about how you look is that at one of the restaurants where I worked, I got called out for what I was wearing because it was not considered sexy enough.
No way.
Mm-hmm. I was in college. Awful. Yeah. And so they wanted, And I was like,
it's not like you worked at Hooters. You didn't work at Hooters, did you?
No, I worked in a fancier part of Seattle. And so it was this like higher end sports bar and grill.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anywho, all right. So the worst, not the worst, but when I think I'll leave it on this note so like we can get to your stories.
Oh, thanks.
But one of the things that made me tilt my head and go, huh? On this article about people being weird is that there was this convenience store or grocery store and they had to lock the ice cream freezer because people, right? This happened more than once at this store, would go in, grab a tub of ice cream, lick it to see if they liked the flavor. And if they didn't, they would cap it and put it back. So this place had to put a lock on the freezer with a sign that said, go ask for assistance.
Ice cream flavors to decide.
Ugh. It just made me think
where was this convenience store?
I don't know. Thank God I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to know.
Who never wants to buy ice cream again from what?
If there's ever a case for just having your own garden and growing things back there.
I feel like
living
also
on a farm.
COVID makes things a little more complicated as far as the I can't even imagine. Like they would open. Oh.
No, I was very grossed out. I'm like, how common is this?
Well, apparently common enough they had to put a lock on it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
Who knows?
Ugh.
Isn't that gross?
Yeah.
All right, take us to something uplifting.
Oh. I don't know if I can do that. I know I did. I had a eventful week this week, so I'm trying to be mindful of the stories that I'll share.
Right on.
I think one of the cool things this week, Anna did help me put up my picture clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to
take... That was scary.
It was. Yeah.
We jimmied like a little step ladder thing on top of her treadmill, which is close to the wall. Like there was no way we were going to move the treadmills to get to the wall.
The what?
Tread, whatever. That thing. The thing that you walk or run on. You probably run.
No,
I'd probably walk. But yeah, it was a little harrowing, but it was fun and it looks really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a fun idea. We just have massive amounts of wall in this house and wanted to figure out what to do. So I decided to make a clock out of some pictures.
I know, you guys remember when she said she wasn't artsy or like that she didn't identify with that kind of
I don't
descriptor.
Knit. I can't crochet booties and knit sweaters for people, and
she has a very creative brain because she came up with this clock idea on her own.
Well, I bet someone else is going to be like, no, you didn't, because I saw it somewhere.
Well, it's possible that someone in Antarctica came up with the idea too.
Yes. So that happened this week. I also had some fraud, right? Like I can't win these days. Yeah. So some fraud. So someone somehow got one of my credit card numbers.
Boo.
It sounds like they were having a nice trip though.
Dang
Airbnb, had some food delivered.
Dang.
Venmoed someone. Yeah.
Wow.
So luckily I'm working with my bank to kind of fix that.
I hate when that happens.
If I knew you guys were going to spend that much at Airbnb, why didn't you invite me?
I know, right?
Yeah. I could use a trip right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's being taken care of, which is good. It was kind of a shock.
Yeah.
And then I do feel like I need to call myself out. Oh, man. So let me backtrack for a sec before I get to the current situation.
I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, you guys. So I sometimes get a little up in arms about things. You know, there's that Aries that comes out every once in a while. And when people do stuff that I consider to be dumb or not appropriate, it tends to irk me. Mm. So years ago, we were in Hawaii, went with my sister and our parents for their anniversary to Hawaii.
That was a fun trip.
It was. So I was watching this family and the kids were trying to touch a sea turtle that was close to the shore. And I got really annoyed.
I remember this.
Then they were getting sticks out and they were trying to poke the sea turtle. And I went over there and I was like, hey, that's a protected species. You guys need to leave it alone. And they eventually did. Well, we have a lot of Canada geese. Now, let me just say.
We do.
I'm not a big fan of Canada geese.
They're like groundhogs.
They are also, oh my gosh, you said groundhogs? Or
prairie dogs. Oh, prairie dogs. Like groundhogs too, I suppose. We have a lot of prairie dogs.
Yeah.
They're like prairie dogs with wings. They're everywhere.
Funny? I am less protective over the prairie dogs though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're protected species, also the Canada geese. So I'm driving the other day and I've got Buddy the kid and my mom in the car. And of course, the geese decide that they have to cross the street. And this is not a joke. This is not a Shanti Wyman joke, I promise.
No, it's real.
And so
real life.
I've always wondered too why the geese don't fly over the road.
No,
because they can.
They have to waddle.
They do waddle. So I'm one of those, like, just take the time. I usually go, obviously I need to slow down a little bit, watch the geese. And my whole thing is if you start driving at them, they scatter.
Right.
Which means they're going to be more in the road. And it's going to take you more time for them to figure out where they're going and for you to get by.
Right.
Okay. So I've set the scene. These geese are trying to go across the road. And I'm in a 2-lane, well, I guess it's a 4-lane street. But so a car comes up behind me going the same direction as me. And she just starts inching at them.
No.
And inching at them. And I'm getting annoyed. Okay. Well, not that I'm so brilliant. We obviously know that after listening to me for a few weeks. So I decided to honk my horn at the lady. Everyone thought I was honking my horn at the geese.
Oh, no.
And thus starts this whole, like, musical car horns.
It's cacophony.
Scattering them. And another car comes up and she has no idea what I'm saying. And I'm telling my mom, okay, I fully admit this is not a good moment, okay? I'm like, I just want to flip off all these people. She's like, and what would you be teaching your son? thanks, Mom. Right? And he's in the back going, geese. Oh my gosh. And so we go out of there and I'm like fuming. I'm like, oh, I can't even believe it. And it was all me. It was completely all me. I completely ruined that whole situation. And then eventually we were able to creep by and I watched a car almost hit one of them. And
which is illegal.
It is totally illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't hit the geese.
No.
But you know what?
Just sit for a second. And I think also what was very frustrating is do not run errands on a Saturday around here.
No.
And so that got me all riled up. I had people tailgating me really bad, people trying to go around me in the parking lot, people trying, right? I'd drive up to a spot and someone would rush in. Yeah.
It's like Christmas.
Oh, seriously. And then of course I'm in the middle of a large store and people are parking their carts in the middle of aisles trying to get, and I was just like, oh,
it's just a bad shopping day.
Could people not have more awareness of other people around them?
Just wait.
Specifically me. Could everyone just have awareness of me when I go out to stores, please? Like things would be so much better.
Just wait till we're all back to like 100%.
Oh gosh, I don't want to do it.
I know, we've been so spoiled.
And I even said as we were driving away, we went to 3 stores, and as I was taking our mom home, I was like, I think, well, first she goes, why don't you just go during the week? I was like, Mom, I don't have time during the week. I go to work, pick up the kid, and right. And so then I was like, maybe I just have to start having everything delivered again. Oh, which I've done. You know, nice. Sometimes I'll do that or do pick up and stuff. But
may I just point to the story I was saying earlier about you don't know who's doing what with your groceries?
That's true. That's
so
true.
Maybe you do want to pick out your own thing.
I can't even. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like what they say. You know, if you piss someone off in a restaurant or ask for something different that they don't want to do, and they'll spit in your food.
Yeah, I never did that.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
Well, and I'll say it, and this is no
so
judgment
gross
on this family, but even before we were taping today or recording, I had an instance where I was out in public and saw a family and the kids were touching everything.
Ugh.
All of the water bottles that were for sale, all of the juices that were for sale, all of the milk, every table that they could touch. They were putting their faces all up on the glass, and I am holding Buddy the kid like, don't you get down, don't.
Yeah, especially now where we're like,
you can't touch anything.
Germaphobes.
Oh, I'm a total germaphobe.
I just have
now.
to go home and like douse myself in Sani.
Can you imagine if showers then came out with Purell, like instead of water? It was really interesting. Anyway,
so
all right. That was my week. Yeah.
Awesome.
Trying to save the geese.
I love it. And you know what? When Alexander told the story about Hawaii and the sea turtles, you know, and I always get a little like, why is she going to go say anything? She's going to say something to that family. Oh my God, here we go. We're going to make a thing about this and save the sea turtles and all. And yes, they're a protected species. But you know, when someone like actually goes and like corrects people and we're like, oh God, like you never know how they're going to respond. And so I've just always been in awe of my sister, like taking a stand like that for the animals.
Oh,
and for people. She always does that for people too, like for rules. And if people aren't following the rules, I like
a rule follower.
She's a rule follower.
That's good.
Mostly. Yeah. All right. So as we mentioned, we are kicking off March Madness.
Woot.
And I think it's really fun that both my sister and I have been able to coach sports in our careers as educators and whatnot. And so we wanted to, before we get our guest speaker rolling, we wanted to share a couple of our own coaching stories and our most memorable moments.
Yeah, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, I was trying to rack my brain thinking like, what are some funny things or embarrassing things that have happened? Some of the things that I did come up with. So I've coached volleyball and I coached soccer. Both at the middle school and the high school level. And I remember when I first coached volleyball, I was coaching the C team at the high school where I worked. And it was like a, not inner city school, but right outside of the city school, down here on the Front Range. And in our conference for volleyball, we were playing a mountain school. And so I remember taking our team, all 3 teams, A, B, and C, up to the mountain school. And you know, we were pumping the girls up like, this is going to be great. A lot of them had never been up that far away from home before. And so to get them into the mountains was a really cool experience.
Yeah. And the mountains are beautiful.
They are beautiful. And I remember it was up by, I want to say Grand Lake, somewhere around there. And we got to the school and, the girls were kind of nervous. Like we don't know who we're playing. We haven't seen these girls before that we're playing. And our little students, girls, it was high school from the Front Range, when they walked into the gym and saw who they were playing, like their mouths gaped open and like their jaws dropped to the floor because our opponents were a good foot to a foot and a half taller.
Oh my gosh. Are they the same age? Or are they different?
Yeah, same age, but very tall.
There, apparently.
And I had good, clean mountain air. And not that we don't have clean air down here, but I was like, oh my God. And you could see
above the smog.
You can see the girls' faces like, holy Toledo.
Yeah, how'd you guys do?
Not in Kansas. We didn't win. However, they played their little hearts out. And that's what I have told every one of my teams. Like, we can be intimidated. We're going to play people who are intimidating. But if we give it our all, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And we didn't get creamed for every single game that we played. Just a lot. But they were really solid. And like I said, it was an experience to get the girls out of
that's pretty cool.
Town area. Yeah. One of my other favorites when we were playing soccer at the middle school level. And my girls worked really hard and they surprised me at the end of a season with like cake in the face.
Oh, I do remember.
We have lots of pictures with cake in the face. Yeah. Some coaches get Gatorade on them, and I got really greasy icing cake in the face. So endearing. I still have those photos.
Yeah.
And then my last one that I'm kind of proud of is I went to a middle school. Was working at a middle school. I did go to a middle school way back when, but this time I was actually coaching, counseling and coaching at one, and they didn't have a volleyball team for the middle school girls, and so we started one.
That's awesome.
Yes. And we were like the unwanted team at the school because we were connected to a high school and we weren't allowed to practice in their gym, their big gym that we could have had like 3 volleyball nets up. They didn't want us practicing in there and encroaching.
Did they ever tell you why?
No, I think they just didn't think we were a real team. Oh. So my girls and we had this little cement courtyard where we would do recess during the school day. And so we'd set up badminton nets in the courtyard. And the girls practiced volleyball using badminton nets and the walls of the building to pass to each other off of. And
karma for that high school.
So, and you know what? I'm really proud of them because that first year was really rough. But we did our best with the equipment. And we didn't end up at the bottom of our league for that first year. So that's you guys awesome. Having like no equipment and using this cement playground. We did have spirit. And I'm very proud to say I was only there for 2 years, but that second year we ended up in the top 3 in our league. Again, having no equipment. Yeah. So I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the girls for, overcoming the fact that we had no equipment. Like, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And they ended up giving it their heart and ended up doing really well. So I'm proud of that.
That is really cool.
Thanks.
My story is a little different.
Do tell.
Well, again, I think I'm just calling myself out. Today will be the day of calling myself out. Okay. So I coached soccer for a little bit and it was girls soccer. And we were, I don't know, at an away game and the game had started and there were some people who were kicking, people not affiliated with us were kicking around a soccer ball off the field. Totally normal.
Yes. It happens.
But they kept kicking it onto the field during the game.
Right.
And so I'd hop on the field, kick it back to them. And probably by the 3rd time, I got really annoyed.
Well, because safety first.
Well.
Then teamwork.
Right. Safety first. I love that you bring that up. I got really annoyed and I kept telling him, hey, can you try not kick it on the field? Can you try not kick it on the field? And so finally I got so annoyed and I was like, hey, I told you, stop kicking the soccer ball onto the field. And I just walloped. I kicked that soccer ball so hard off the field. Are you guys ready for this amazing kick? I mean, this shot was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Picture it.
I nailed this little 4-year-old girl who was running around the track. I nailed her so hard. Her shoes came flying off of her. They flipped right off of her little feet onto the track. She biffed it.
What?
Yeah, totally biffed it and face planted on the track.
Oh, no.
And then I had to run over her and I handed her shoes.
Oh, no.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Like trying to help put her shoes on because I'm going, her parents are somewhere around here. She's 4 years old. Where are her parents? Where are her parents? They're going to come kill me. I have no idea what's happening. We're at an away game. I have no idea what's going on. And she was very, I'm okay. I'm like, just get your shoes back on. Here's the soccer ball and go keep running. I mean,
so sorry.
Yeah. Perfect shot. I mean, I took her legs out so bad. Yeah.
It's one of those where you hear the kid go,
yeah.
Your shoes go
flying in the air. And everyone goes, ooh.
Oh. Yeah, we were like, oh. Yeah. Oh, and right.
Yeah.
And I remember because we were talking earlier about how Alexandra played football in Bath, England. So, she's got some good aim, but that was like spot on.
Yeah. I took out a 4-year-old.
Yeah. That was a fine moment.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Needless to say, I did not get Coach of the Year with that one.
Whatever. You were a good coach. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I like coaching.
It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So now we're gonna turn over to our guest interviewee for the day. We're so pumped that for our first interviewee ever for this podcast, we're going to be joined by our brother. His name is Andrei.
So cool. Yeah. Coach G. Awesome. So welcome to our show. It's 5:00 somewhere with our first guest ever, Andrei Gisetti. He also, as we have said, is our brother. So we are super pumped to kick off our March Madness with Dre. And we're honored because not only, I'm going to have Andrei to talk a little bit about himself, but we're just honored to have him here because of the roles that he plays in for what he does. And so, Dre, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Andrei Gisetti, and I'm a teacher and a coach. I coach football and track and field.
That is at a high school. That is so cool. And we want to tell you because you weren't with us in the very beginning, but the wine that we are toasting today is called the Crusher and has a big red C on it. Uh-huh. Yep. So, Dre, how did you get into coaching?
I started way back. Back in college, actually. I was coached women's rugby team back then. And then I was between jobs, and Jackie, my wife, knew head coach at the Chatfield, which is where I'm at. I knew him from high school and said I should give him a call, figure some stuff out if I wanted to teach or coach or anything else like that. So I went and talked with him for a little bit, and next thing I know, he's like, yeah, well, come on by and see how it fits. And that was, 12 years ago now? So a long time.
Has it already been that long?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I've been coaching for a very long time. Comparatively to some others, I guess. But yeah, it just kind of stuck, and yeah.
Awesome. And so you started off with, women's rugby at college, and then football at the high school level, and track and field at the high school level.
Well, don't forget, didn't you help out with Pee Wee soccer?
Yeah, that was after I started coaching high school. I was 1 year of
Pee Wee soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, with one of the nieces. Yes. That's so awesome. And so track and field, what do you coach with track and field?
So I coach the throwers. So discus and shot put, the big people.
The strong ones. I like it. He's like, the strong ones. And we love your background, by the way. What do you teach?
So I teach honors biology and astronomy. So
awesome. Very appropriate to have this spacey background then. Mm-hmm. Cool. So who would you say has been your inspiration for coaching?
For coaching? There's a few. Probably ones that I've tried to model the most is with somebody like John Wooden, who was the basketball coach at UCLA back in the 70s, won 10 national titles while he was there. But just his philosophy on how he coached, how he approached the game, that's kind of what I try to emulate. Somebody like Tony Dungy, who was coach at Indianapolis Colts, and also Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played in the NFL for quite a few years. So those are guys that I kind of look at just in their style, how they coach things, and their approach to coaching up, young people, I think is better than most.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, because there are some people who feel like talent is everything, right? If you got the talent, then you're going to be off the bench and playing. And there are other coaches who are like, you got to have the character and the sportsmanship too.
Yeah, we really strive to push. I mean, everyone wants to win. That's a no-brainer. But at the end of the day, winning a high school game, if you got a bunch of not so nice people who don't treat others well, I mean, it doesn't say much for them or for you. And I think there's quite a few people that when they, like you said, when they get into coaching, they think it's just about the X's and O's, and it's so much more than that. Especially these days, you play a bigger role than what it might have been like when you were getting coached way back when, depending on. And so, I mean, we've had, like I said, I've been there for 12 years, and I think currently there's 5 people on the staff who were there 12 years ago.
Wow.
Everyone else is, and normally we have around 12 to 15 coaches.
Wow. It's a lot of turnover.
Well, the thing is a lot of people come into this and think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I just get to hang out with all these kids, and we're just going to coach them up in games, and then the prep that goes into it, the meetings, if this is something you're going to do, prepare for the long haul. It's not just showing up, and especially today, like in these days, in 2021, coaching is completely different. So the way I got coached wouldn't fly. The best compliment I ever got from my coach was, "You keep on practicing like that, maybe you'll make second string." And I can't even imagine telling one of my players that at all. Today, it's more like, hey, whatever you, keep working. In a case like that where, someone's doing really well, keep it up. Hey, keep going. We're going to start relying on you more and more. Start showing me what you got. We're going to rely on you. And there's just, it's saying the same thing, but it's just how it's being said.
Yeah.
So you kind of, and there's times where you have to be direct, but there's times where it's a little bit different. So a lot of people come in and realize that it isn't for them. You're not, it's a huge time commitment. It's, so thankfully, my family's been invested from the get-go. They love going to the football games and even going track and field events. They enjoy it. So on the flip side is teenagers today are completely different than they were 20 years ago.
Amen.
That is true. You do not lie.
So you can't, there's a different approach that needs to be taken. It used to be, you can throw kids around and be a little bit more physical, and these days you can't do that. Yelling at a kid for making a mistake, and most coaches will tell you, yelling at a kid for making a mistake doesn't solve the mistake at all. Now, after the third or fourth time, it's the same mistake over and over. That's probably a different story. But the first time kid makes a mistake, then they're afraid to actually go out and play, especially in football. You have to be able to, we tell them all the time, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Hear, hear.
if it continues, yes, we're gonna come down on you. But if you make a mistake once, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Right. And like, I feel like that's such a huge part of coaching at this level is teaching, like helping them learn not just positions and plays, but also character and how to be a whole human being. And so I just love your approach. And I think you've been a stellar role model for your kids, like you said, who as a family would like to go to games, and your kids get to see what you're doing on the daily. And hopefully it'll influence their decisions to participate in athletics later on too.
Yeah, I mean, there's things even with Kylie, oldest, like there's some. She'll ask me, she'll come. I was like, well, I'll talk to her about what she's doing swimming. And she'll say something about the coach, and I'll be like, well, did you go ask? No. Okay, then. Well, go ask. Like, I'm not going to sit there and hold your hand. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to hold your hand and baby you through this. Like, I may see something, and it is true. Like, I don't know much about the world of swimming, but there was a couple events where we saw she was better than some of the other people that were on like the A team, and you just got to sit back and go, okay, her coach is going to see it eventually, and they did, and they put her back on the A team. So I mean, it all works out, and we just tell her to just keep persevering, just keep pushing yourself, and ask questions. Go enjoy, ask questions, be a good person, and you'll get noticed. So.
Well, and one of the things that I noticed that your girls do, like when they had run camp last year, and they would let me know that one of your messages, we should say, to them is like, you have control over your effort and your attitude. So, right.
We have commandments, and that's first commandment's always be on time. Tame the tongue. So all sorts of different things that are kind of embedded in our program. But the one thing that we tell everybody is the only two things you can control is attitude and your effort. So when you're in the middle of the field and the ref throws a flag, your attitude after that flag gets thrown, that's what you can control. Like, you can control your reaction. 15-yard penalties, things like that. And that's, things that you have control over. Like, football gets a little heated, as I think most competitive sports do. And, we always tell them, like, so if the first person, the ref never sees the first swing or the first action, they always see the second.
Never.
So you have to control that piece of it for yourself, and, you don't react. I always tell them, laugh it off. I said, there's nothing worse, especially, playing rugby, also a physical game. There is nothing worse or more demoralizing to somebody else when you just start laughing at them in the middle of the field and giggling, and just, being a little, like, it causes people to take pause.
Mm-hmm.
And I know in my case that always happened when I played. So.
For sure. So Alexandra shared a story with us earlier from one of her, like, did that just happen moment from when she was coaching, and she was trying to clear a soccer ball off the field and ended up kicking the ball at a 4-year-old, and the 4-year-old shoes came flying off. Do you have any of those, like, did that just happen moment, like, that you're like, oh gosh, like embarrassing or flubs, or I don't know. Gosh, wish that had.
Well, that's good.
I know, like, good for you.
Run on the field before, after. It was right after. I mean, one game, you got really, really heated between the football teams. We were trying to break it up. The opposing team was yelling at some of our coaches. It was one of my second year coaching, and I was the JV head coach, and really should not have been the JV head coach after 2 years. And it was just like one thing after another, and then all of a sudden this dog starts running on the middle of the field. One of the parents let their dogs loose. So that was one thing. And the only I can't. I mean, the only time I've actually felt like I can't believe this is happening, like, is honestly when I'm trying not to run up the score or something. There's been a couple of years when I was a freshman head coach, we had a really good team and we were playing a not so good team. And the game was already, we were ahead like 36-0 at some point. We just gotten a safety.
Wow.
Like, okay, great. I don't know what I was like. All right, we're calling off. Like, I'm getting ready for everybody else to, get everyone else into the game for the second half before it goes into a running clock. And there's like 2 minutes before the half, and because it was a safety, we get the ball back, and their kid punted it, and we returned it for a touchdown. And I just sat there. I was like, I'm looking across, going, I was like, I'm trying not to score. Like, holy cow, this is ridiculous.
What else can we do to help you?
I just didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, well, it's a running clock. And I was like, all right, well, and because I know I didn't want the other coach to think that we were trying to run up the score or anything else like that. I've had that happen to me also, where teams run up the score. And it's like, that's, I lose respect for you as a coach. I've actually yelled at coaches who've done that. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You've proved your point already. You're up by 45.
Right.
You don't need to be throwing the ball down the field.
No. Hear, hear. Hey, last question for you. What is like one of your proudest coach moment?
I don't know if I have any.
What?
No, I mean, it's...
Hey, you have some players playing in the NFL. That's got to make you feel pretty good.
It's different. It's not, I mean, it's cool for them. The reason why is I can't, there's a lot of different things. Like, some of the things that you get excited about are when, you get invited. I mean, get invited to, former player's wedding. That's always really cool.
That is cool.
That's happened a couple times here. Having kids, go on success play, college football is pretty cool. Having, the nice thing about our team and everything else, just how we do it is, that's a hard question. I don't know.
We didn't mean it to be a stumper.
No, it's just, I'm always proud of how the guys like compete, how we do things. That's always something. But there's never really one. Like, I mean, that's just it. There's never really one time where I can say, "Wow, this is like the proudest moment." No, I'm always looking at being, proud of what they do all the time. Like, no matter what the record's been, are we competing? I think there's only a few times where I've felt like the players that we had were truly, honestly, a bunch of jerks and couldn't wait for the season to end. And I can only probably think of, and even out of that was just, a few select people out of the class. Other than that, it's always been, each year's a different year. So it always brings new things that you end up being really proud of. I mean, the current team we've got, the way they're competing, wasn't a very good year last year. And the current crop of juniors, the way they've been, fighting through everything and having to adjust to how we do things with COVID right now. And, they've been doing a really good job. So, I mean, that's just it. Like, there's never just one thing. There's a lot of things that, I'll see them. I'm proud of what they do. So.
I feel like that's what makes you such an inspiration too. Because I feel like for us, you've been someone to look up to, not just how you teach, but how you educate, how you embrace education, and then how you embrace coaching and how you're constantly learning. You are always reading and studying and working on how to be better so that you can help your players be better. And that's just been pretty awesome. And with that, we just want to say thank you. Thanks for going out on a limb here and taking the time to be with us today and be our first guest on our show.
Yeah, thank you.
Any final thoughts?
No, not really.
Awesome.
Man of so many words.
I know.
Well, I'm going to bed. That's my final thought. I'm going to go take a nap.
Go take a nap. Awesome. Well, you've earned it. Thank you again. We love you and appreciate you very much.
Love you guys too.
Cool. All right. Well, that was so much fun
Awesome.
to be able to talk with our brother. Like we said, we're just so honored to have him on our show. And he's just doing such awesome things with his students in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So we thank him so much for being on our show. And with that, that has brought us to the STW joke of the day. I have no idea. I didn't even prep a joke ahead of time. So we're just going to open one up. Oh my gosh. And this one has to do with kind of a sportsing thing.
Of course it does.
Well, the universe happens that way sometimes. All right. Why did the bicycle need help standing up?
Because it didn't have a leg to stand on.
Ooh, that's kind of a good answer.
Okay.
This answer is because it was too tired. Get it? Too tired. Because it was too tired.
You need to stop laughing at those.
STW, that's in honor of you. What's our affirmator for today?
Yeah, ultimate potential. I choose to live a life of my fullest potential. Trust that this will draw me towards experiences and people that support my growth and accomplishment. Tuning into this frequency, I now reach higher heights than I ever thought possible. Knowing that's an option, why would I have ever tuned into anything else? I'm looking at you, smooth jazz and talk radio.
That's so funny, talk radio. That's kind of what we're doing. Awesome. Thank you for the affirmator. Thank you guys for listening. We love having you just hang out with us like we say all the time. It's very cool for us.
Leave us a review if you can. 5
leave
stars.
us reviews. Find us wherever you find our podcasts. Refer your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like more people.
We do we like people.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as we like geese.
Yeah. Not when I'm shopping. I don't like people when I'm shopping.
Yeah.
But I love all of you.
Yes. Humans. You're a humanist. All right, you guys, we hope you have a great week and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.